My presentation is about John Augustus. John was born in 1736 and died in 1810. He was the first Augustus to ever come to America. John worked hard and had many friends, adventures, and fun times. I interviewed my dad about this. He is my dad's great 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 grandfather. That makes John my great 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 grandfather. John was from Germany, which is a country in central or the middle of Europe. He was born in a part of Germany called Saxony, in a city called Hanover. His dad was a farmer, and in those days that meant that John would be a farmer. There were many things that John liked about his home country, but in Germany there were many people who tried to stop his family from practicing their religion or thinking for themselves. John and his family decided to search for freedom and a better life here in America. In 1753, when John was 17, he sailed from Europe to America on a crowded ship. The trip was very long, rough, and dangerous. It took many months to cross the Atlantic Ocean. A lot of people did not survive the horrible trek, but John was young, healthy, and strong. He made it to America. John landed in the port of Philadelphia on the east coast of America. This is what the port looked like back then. But the trip was very expensive and John's family was poor. A man named John Garrett paid for John's trek. In return, John became his indentured servant. This meant that John had to work for Mr. Garrett for 5 years on his farm before he could be free. John was separated from his family. John worked hard at Mr. Garrett's Philadelphia farm for 5 years. He gained his freedom, and in 1758 he moved to Newcastle, Delaware. Newcastle was also on the Delaware River, just a little bit downstream from Philadelphia. There he met a girl named Elizabeth. They got married in 1760. For the next 15 years, John and Elizabeth farmed their land and had many children. They named their first son Jacob. Jacob is my great 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 grandfather. John loved his family and new country very much. But John also yearned for adventure, freedom, and wide open spaces. He dreamed of crossing the Appalachian Mountains, which divided North America into two. John dreamed of exploring the West. In 1775, John wanted to go with Daniel Boone on his wilderness road and find a new home in Kentucky. But John's father-in-law was blind, and he needed John to care for him and his farm. John agreed to stay and help his family. He gave up his dreams of excitement and adventure. But the next year, excitement and adventure found John Augustus. In July of 1776, Americans declared their independence from England and created a new country. England refused to leave, so the War of Independence was fought. John volunteered to fight for his new country. He became a soldier in the Continental Army as a private in the Delaware troops. He would have worn a uniform kind of like this. It is very possible that he was with George Washington by December 26th of 1776, when he and the American soldiers faced horrible winter weather to cross the Delaware and battle the enemy in nearby Trenton, New Jersey. John fought Hessians. Hessians were people from Germany helping the British fight the Americans. It must have been very hard for John to fight people from his old country, but he did it for America, the new country that he loved. John helped America win the war and gain its freedom, but he was tired of fighting. He put his weapon down and went back to his home in Delaware. John spent the rest of his life in peace as a husband, father, and farmer. But Jacob Augustus, John's oldest son, lived out his father's dreams of adventure and conquered the mountains. Jacob lived for a time on the James River in Berkeley County, Virginia, a place that today is part of the state of West Virginia. Then, in 1795, Jacob took the Great Philadelphia Wagon Road south and then hiked through the Appalachian Mountains at Cumberland Gap between Kentucky and Virginia. He took the very same wilderness road made by Daniel Boone that his daddy wanted to take 20 years earlier. Jacob went into Kentucky with his family, and in 1796 he eventually settled on the Ohio River in Louisville. The Augustuses have remained in Louisville ever since Jacob arrived 218 years ago. In 1810, when John was 74 years old, he died peacefully in his sleep. John was buried at a church in Newcastle, Delaware. He is still buried there today. Here are my direct descendants, beginning with John Augustus, the one American immigrant in my family and a pretty cool guy. The end. Thank you.